Before I tell you this story, do me a favor. Stick around until the very end. Because when I first showed up at that construction site, I thought I was just clocking in as a warehouse manager. Just a guy counting bolts, handing out work gloves, keeping track of the inventory. Simple shit. Turns out I walked right into a snake pit. And the snake, he was smiling at me the whole time. One phone call, that's all it took to change everything. This guy Roma calls me up. Good guy Roma, Moldovan, met him through a Georgian buddy of mine named David, but that's another story for another video. Anyway, Roma calls and offers me a job, warehouse manager on a construction site. I asked him what the daily grind would look like. He says, order materials, hand them out, keep the yard organized. I asked about the money, 60,000 rubles a month. Now listen, for me at that time that sounded like decent money. Not rich but decent. Enough to live on, enough to send some home. So I said yes. I packed my duffel bag, grabbed my work boots and headed out. When I got to the site, Roma wasn't there. He called me and said, look for a guy named Vanya. He'll get you settled in. So I found Vanya. And let me tell you something about first impressions. They lie to your face. At first glance, this guy was the friendliest dude you'd ever meet. Always smiling, always clapping you on the back, calling you brother, acting like he was just thrilled to see you. You know that type of guy. The kind of guy who smiles so much it makes your teeth hurt. The kind of guy who says welcome, welcome, like he's been waiting for you his whole life. Later on, I found out he was rotten. Rotten from his boots to his hard hat. A real piece of work. His own crew ended up turning on him. Roma ended up firing him. And the guy tried to screw me out of 30,000 rubles, but that's a story for another video. I'll tell you that one too. But on day one, I bought it. I thought he was a stand-up guy. He showed me where I was gonna be living. It was a trailer. But honestly, it was the nicest one on the whole site. It was split right down the middle. One side was a sleeping area with bunks. The other side was a little kitchen, stove, sink, table. And right in the middle was a changing room where you could take off your muddy boots and hang up your jacket. Compared to some of the rat holes I'd lived in before, I thought, man, this is luxury. I was sharing the trailer with a Ukrainian guy named Stepan. Good dude. Stepan was honest, quiet, sincere. The kind of worker you actually want in your trench. Never complained, never caused drama, just did his job and minded his own business. I thought this is gonna be fine. I was wrong. The honeymoon phase ended the very next morning. Vanya comes over bright and early, hands me a shovel and tells me to grab my gear. I ask him what we're doing. He says his crew is digging a trench for the concrete fence footings. I didn't have much else to do yet. The warehouse wasn't set up. No materials had come in, so I figured, hell, I'm a worker. I've dug trenches before. I'll grab a shovel and dig. No problem. But something immediately looked dead wrong to me. Right there, sitting in the dirt not 50 yards away, was a tractor, a big, heavy piece of iron. And digging trenches is exactly why they brought that tractor to the site in the first place. That's its whole job, but it wasn't moving. The engine was cold. The operator was just standing around, hands in his pockets, drinking coffee. And we were out there busting our backs, digging by hand with shovels. There were guys everywhere on that site, multiple crews, different trades, electricians, plumbers, concrete guys, framers. The whole site was buzzing with work, except for the tractor. That thing was just sitting there like a paperweight, like a 1,000,000-ruble lawn ornament. After a while, I noticed this big, heavy-set guy standing nearby, watching us dig. I walked over, wiped the sweat off my neck, and asked him who he was. He told me he was the foreman. His name was Igor, certified engineer, the kind of guy who actually knew how to read a blueprint and do math. I pointed back at Vanya and asked, "Then who's that guy?" The foreman laughed, a real laugh. He said, "He's just a crew leader, nothing more." Okay, fine, but I'm a practical guy. I don't like wasting energy. So I asked the question that was burning a hole in my brain. I said, "Look, If you already have a tractor on site, why the hell are we digging this trench with shovels? You're paying for that machine by the day anyway, right? He says, yeah, that's right. So I said, then why isn't it running? It could dig this whole trench in 20 minutes while we go do something else. The foreman just smiled this tired smile and said, ask your crew leader, Vanya, he'll tell you. I laughed. I said, aren't you the boss out here? You're the foreman. He said, officially, yeah, but still go talk to Vanya. So I walk back to Vanya. I ask him straight up, why are we breaking our backs when the tractor can do it in a fraction of the time? His answer was instant, like he'd rehearsed it. He says, because if the tractor does the work, what am I supposed to pay my crew with? They need the hours, Boria. They need to eat. Now look, I'm a blue-collar guy, I get it. You gotta feed your crew. From his point of view, it almost made sense. Almost. So I nodded and went back to digging. But then something happened that made the whole situation even stranger. The real foreman, Igor, walks over. He looks at the idle tractor, he looks at Vanya, and he says, why is that machine sitting there? Fire it up. Let it dig the trench for your guys. And right in front of me, Vanya looks Igor in the eye and lies, straight to his face. He says, I offered it to the guys, but they said if the tractor does the work, they won't earn any money, so they refused to use it. I was standing right there. I was shocked. Nobody had said a damn word about refusing. Not a single guy, not one. But I was the new guy. I didn't know the politics yet. I didn't know who was who. So I kept my mouth shut and kept digging. That evening, the suits and the bosses all drove off in their cars. Just us workers left. We sat around after our shift, opened a few bottles of tea. And yeah, you know what I mean by tea, and started talking. Getting to know each other. I told them what Vanya had said about the tractor. The guys just stared at me. Then they started laughing, like really laughing. They said, are you kidding? We never said that, not once, not ever. Let the damn tractor work. Nobody wants to dig dirt for fun. If the machine can do it, let it do it. We'd rather be doing something else. That was the night the mask slipped. That's when the crew told me who Vanya really was. Every single guy gave me the same advice. Don't trust him. Don't tell him your business. Don't share your problems. Don't turn your back on him. He'll use everything you say against you. And the crazy part, that tractor came every single morning, and it sat there, day after day, week after week, for like 15 or 20 days just sitting, engine off, operator drinking coffee. Later I found out they were paying 12,000 rubles a day for it. 12 grand a day every single day to let it idle in the dirt. Welcome to the construction business, right? Days turned into weeks, just work, arguments, and routine. Roma told me not to stress, said I just needed time to get used to the crew, especially because, as he put it, I was the only Muslim on the whole site. And let me be straight with you about that. I'm a bad Muslim. I know I'm supposed to pray 5 times a day. I don't. I love my salo, that cured pork fat, and I eat it without shame. I'm not perfect. I never claim to be, but I know how to read people. I know how to work hard, and I know how to keep my head down. And speaking of keeping your head down, on my second day at the site, the local settlement commandant stopped me. This guy was not friendly, not even close. He was a straight-up racist prick. He starts grilling me right there in the middle of the road. Where are you from? Why are you here? Who brought you? What are you doing? I looked at him and said, I'm Kalmyk. A few seconds later, Roma pulls up in his car. The commandant immediately points at me and says to Roma, and I'm not making this up, he says, why did you bring this black-ass guy here? And to build a church of all places? He actually used a slur.
We have
right
every
there,
right
in front of
to
everybody.
be here. Let
Roma
us
didn't even
through
blink.
the gate
This guy was cool as
now.
ice. He just looked at
This
the
is a
commandant and said, he's
restricted
Kyrgyz. He speaks
area.
Russian
I
perfectly.
am
The
ordering you
commandant
to
sneers and
leave
says, you're lying. He
immediately.
just told me he's Kalmyk. Without missing a beat, Roma says, his passport is Kyrgyz, but he's Kalmyk. The commandant just stood there, his brain short-circuiting. He couldn't figure out what to say. Roma had just outplayed him with pure nonsense, and the guy didn't even know it. Later I found out why this commandant was such a nightmare. The settlement next door was full of heavy hitters, military generals, government officials, Kremlin guys, big money, big power. And this commandant had a deal with them: no non-Slavic workers allowed in their precious neighborhood, not one. He had a free pass to be a tyrant, and everyone looked the other way. I found out later he served in Tajikistan years ago, back in the Soviet days or right after. Got screwed over by the locals over there. Something bad happened. And ever since then he hated anyone who wasn't Russian, especially Tajiks, especially Central Asians. He was trying to humiliate me, make me feel small, so I just quit and leave. He wanted me gone before I even started. But Roma had my back. He talked to the investors, he talked to the commandant, he pulled strings. Eventually the guy backed off, but there was a catch. I wasn't allowed to walk through that elite settlement anymore. I had to take the long way around. Other areas were fine, just not that one. The church happened to be built right on the border of the two neighborhoods, so that was the compromise. Fine by me. I just wanted to work. But Vanya wasn't done with me, not even close. They dropped off a new trailer for me to use as the main warehouse. It needed shelves, racking, organization, everything built right. Roma told me and Stepan to get it ready. So we started hammering and drilling, putting up shelves, making it a real workspace. Halfway through, Vanya rolls up, walks straight past me, doesn't even say hi, grabs Stepan by the arm and says, "Come with me. You're needed on my crew." Stepan doesn't even look up from his drill. He says, "Roma told me to help Boria. I'm staying." Vanya gets red in the face. He yells, "Then you can go get your paycheck from Roma, not from me." That was his game. Petty bullshit, constant pressure, creating problems where there weren't any. He couldn't call Roma himself, even though they were supposed to be friends, because he was scared. So he took it out on me and Stepan. We finished the shelves anyway, and Vanya spent the rest of the day eating my soul about it. Then came the material runs. Roma put Vanya in charge of delivering the materials I ordered. Receipts, signatures, all the paperwork properly done. But when you're running a yard, you don't order everything at once. You order in batches: trowels today, gloves tomorrow, grinding discs the next day, extension cords, drill bits, power tools. I was doing 5, maybe 7 small runs a day. Vanya treated every single run like I was personally insulting him. He'd scream at me, act like I was doing it on purpose to make his life hard, like I was sitting in my trailer inventing new ways to annoy him. I don't know what his problem was. Maybe he wanted to do one massive run so he could skim off the top. Maybe he was just lazy. Maybe he just hated me. I don't know. But I got sick of it. So one day I just snapped. I packed my bags, all of it. I waited until Roma drove off the site and I walked down to the bus stop. I was done. Finished. I didn't even know the bus schedule. I didn't know the buses only came once an hour and had a massive gap in the middle of the day from 10 to 1. I just stood there with my duffel bag, waiting for a ride to Moscow. So I'm just standing there, bags at my feet, ready to leave. And Roma drives by. He sees me standing at the stop with my bags. He hits the brakes, rolls down the window, asks, "What are you doing out here?" I lied. I said, "My sister isn't doing well. I gotta go take care of her." Roma just smiled. A real knowing smile. He said, "Boria, don't bullshit me. I know this is because of Vanya." Then he said, "Stay right there. Don't move. I'm heading toward Moscow anyway. I'll take you myself." But he didn't just drive off. He got on the radio. He called every single crew leader, every foreman, every supervisor. He made them all walk over to the bus stop, even Igor the engineer, everyone. When they were all standing there, Roma pointed right at me. He said, "See this man? I invited him here. I personally asked him to run this warehouse. If any one of you shouts at him, if any of you insults him, if any of you causes him a single problem, you can pack your tools and leave before he does. You hear me?" He looked at the crew and said, "Don't even try to complain about him to me. You won't change my mind. I trust him completely." Then he looked at me and said, "Borya, you hear that? If anyone gives you shit, you tell me. I'll fire them on the spot." Then he laughed, pointed at my bags and said, "Now grab your shit and go back to your trailer. If you want, kick steppin' out. The trailer is yours." Everyone laughed. The tension broke. Even I had to laugh. I picked up my bags, turned around and walked back to the yard. That was the day I realized Roma wasn't just a boss. He was a guy who actually had your back. He didn't care that I was Kyrgyz. He didn't care that I was Muslim. He cared that I did my job and didn't cause drama. And Gosha, another Moldovan guy, good dude, I'll tell you about him in another video, he was the same way. They were real. And you know what the funniest part is? That racist commandant who wanted me gone on day 2, a few months later he was one of the guys who treated me the best. We'd sit and drink tea and talk like old friends. Turns out once he got to know me, the hate just melted. Life is funny like that. The guys who hate you at first sometimes become your best allies. And the guys smiling at you on day 1 like Vanya, they're the ones holding the knife. But look, this is just the beginning. I ended up living on that church property for 4 years. 4 full years. A Muslim guy from Kyrgyzstan living alone on the grounds of an Orthodox church, the Church of the Intercession, mid-sized, beautiful place. I watched the walls go up. I watched the dome go on. I watched 3 full years of construction. And then I stayed another 4 years after, just me and the empty buildings. The parishioners, these old Russian ladies mostly, at first they looked at me like I was an alien, like, why is this Muslim here? But then something changed. One lady brought me soup, then another brought pastries, then another brought fruit, then another brought homemade something. Eventually every single regular parishioner felt it was their personal duty to feed me. I used to joke, "Ladies, if you keep feeding me like this, I won't fit through the church doors." I was supposed to be the investor's right-hand man. He had other projects on the church property, this Orthodox school that was built but not finished, because they were planning to build a stadium next. American-style baseball. They call it lapta here, but it's basically baseball. I was supposed to be watching over the materials for all of that. That's what the investor told me anyway. Then the war started, and I flew home, simple as that. But Vanya, oh, Vanya and I aren't done. Not even close. He eventually tried to screw me out of 30,000 rubles. And get this, he did it right in front of Roma. Roma told him to pay me. Vanya switched to Moldovan. Yeah, he started speaking Moldovan to Roma, fast, whispering, and Roma went quiet. Roma told me later, we'll figure it out. But Vanya kept the money. That guy is a real piece of work. I'll tell you that whole story in another video. This right here, this was just the beginning. The church, the commandant, the tractor, Vanya, Roma, the bus stop. 4 years living alone on church property, the parishioners who fed me. The war that sent me home, all of it, real life, no fiction. If you've ever worked with a guy who smiles to your face but stabs you in the back, drop a comment. Right, I understand, if you've ever been judged before someone even knew your name. And hit subscribe, because every single story on this channel actually happened. No scripts, no actors, just the raw reality of surviving on the site as a worker, as a Muslim, as a foreigner in Russia. See you in the next one.